Hey guys, Kris05 with another video. This video will be the first of a series of videos about the arena. Today's topic will be for the newer players, but the seasoned players might find it useful as well. Let's get into the basics of arena and how you can start coming out ahead from it consistently. In a previous video I explained how good arena can be, if you have an idea what you're doing. With this video you should be able to reach at least 3 to 4 wins from each arena 90% of the time. The topics I'll discuss are picking a class, what cards you should draft, what curve should you go for, what programs should you use, board presence, and playing with a friend. Starting off with which class you should pick in arena. Generally, most people will tell you to pick the class you are most comfortable with. Yes, that's fine, but taking the time to test out and learn the basics of the strongest classes in arena right now will pay off in the long run. Right now I find Warlock and Mage to be the best picks, followed by Paladin and Priest. The other classes are not too far behind as well, excluding maybe Warrior and Shaman. Most people find Mage the easiest, and I advise you to pick it every time you have the chance to, in the beginning at least. Moving on to the draft, let's make something very clear here. Arena is a totally random game mode. Each time you choose between 3 cards of the same rarity, and the game doesn't really care what they are. That being said, the safest way to get a consistent deck every arena is to ignore synergy cards most of the time and go for strong, standalone cards. Stat-wise, for 2 mana cost cards, you should pick cards with 3/2 stats or 2 free stats. For 3 mana cards you should go for 3/4 or 4 free stats, and so on. In arena you just can't rely on synergy until you get a better grasp of arena at least. Also, cards like Keening Banshee, Hoarding Dragon, Frost Rider, and Ticking Abomination, emphasis on the second syllable, are all great picks in most cases. Picking silencing effects and poison is also something you should almost always do, when you have the chance. Strong single target removals and a few board clears are advised as well. Everything sounds easy, but once you start drafting you will find that this is easier said than done. Next we look at the curve. In my experience, it's best to pick a lot of 2, 3 and 4 drops. Getting a consistent board presence early on is devastating for your arena opponent. Low mana board clears are not that common in most arena decks, so you should have no problem getting at least 3 wins each game like this. Having less 6 and 7 plus drops will be in your favor most of the time. Once you drafted, your curve should look something like this. Oops, not that curve. This curve. Now let's talk about software. For a new player, it is essential to know what cards are at the top of the tier lists. I find using tier lists boring and slow, so instead I use Overwolf's Arena Helper. Once you start it and pick a class, the helper values all the cards before you pick them, based on tier list and previous picks. It gives the new players a pretty good helping hand in drafting, and once you've picked your deck, it even gives you information what type of deck you've drafted, aggro, control, mid-range, etc. with some general tips on how you should play the deck and what combos you can do. I'm not saying it's 100% right all the time, but it's a nice guideline new players can follow. It also has a built-in deck tracker, but I find Hearthstone deck tracker to be far more useful and less buggy. Like I said in my previous video, having a deck tracker for ranked is essential, but for arena it's an absolute must. There is no way and no reason for you to memorize all of the different decks you are drafting, and that's where the deck tracker comes in. You can find a link to Hearthstone deck tracker in the description below. Okay, we drafted a decent deck, now it's time to decide what to play and when. In most cases, you should always try to build the best board presence you can in the first few turns, and that's what you should be mulliganing for as well. If you play on curve in the first 3 to 4 turns and your opponent doesn't, you will probably win. In the first turns, you should be asking yourself, what can you play to put the most pressure on your opponent this turn? If you are the player with the coin, it is best to use it in the first few turns so you have a power spike that should turn the board in your favor. Whatever you do not coin a 2-drop on turn 1 and use your hero power on turn 2, if you have no follow-up of course. There is almost no situation this play would be justified. Another thing you should think about is how you use your mana. Sometimes the optimal play is not the one that uses up all of your mana crystals, but the one that gives you the best board. For example, if you are a priest and on turn 3 you have Thoughtsteel and a Bloodsail Raider, The preferred play would be the Raider, especially if it's on an empty board, or a board you can value trade with. Quick side note, value trade is when you can trade a minion without sacrificing your minion, also known as free trading. The last thing I want to advise you is play with friends. Fire up the arena, share your screen with a friend using Gmail video call, and play together. Discuss what cards to draft, what to mulligan for, and what to drop on the board. Having someone you can share thoughts with really helps, and even reveals plays you didn't imagine existed. Hearthstone gets pretty lonely sometimes, and doing arenas with a friend is a great way to add a social factor to the game. Ever since I started Hearthstone, I always play arena with a friend of mine, and month after month our results improved to the point where we occasionally hit the 7-win infinite mark and even reach 12 wins from time to time. Playing your favorite game while spending time with friends? Sounds gay. I'm in! And these are the tips from today's video, guys. Help me out by hitting the subscribe button and maybe drop a like if you like. You can also find my Facebook page in the description and check my other videos for more valuable tips. Leaving you with an interesting game I had a few days ago in which I made a hilarious misplay that ended up better than expected. I'm Kris05 and I'll see you in the next video.
We'll be right back.